Welcome to the Arcadia Unified School District Board of Education meeting. Today is July 22nd, 2025. It is 7 o'clock p.m. and I am calling this meeting to order. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube, and it can be accessed at boardmeeting.ausd.net. I will take roll call. I believe the whole board is here, as well as the executive team.
Yep.
And great, which brings us to the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Yee, will you lead us in that?
I will. All right, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Mrs. Yee, you have our inspiration?
I do. So when I was thinking about inspiration, well, first of all, I hope everyone's having a great summer. And when I was thinking about this inspiration, I was thinking about, wow, it's already time to come back almost. I know the principals are going to be going back next week, and there's a lot of activity going on with PTA volunteers organizing all the registrations at all the school sites. And for many in our school district, it's been a really busy time. Our facility staff have been working really hard and cleaning, fixing, prepping classrooms for the new school year. So I did want to say a big thank you to them for all the work this summer. You may have seen First Avenue getting a fresh coat of paint. Arcadia High School has some temporary structures up to update our locker rooms. And a lot of our elementary school students will be coming back to new playgrounds and shade structures. So we're really excited for everyone to come back. And even as a board, we had our summer planning meeting and reorganization, and we're able to take a tour of some of the school sites to see all the work that's been done, really because of the support of our community. So I did also want to thank our community for passing Measure AS. As we begin the school year, it's a great reminder that just a warm welcome, a moment of acknowledgement, a thank you to your principal, teacher, janitor, bus driver, student, parent, whoever it is that is a part of our community, that basically helps us build the culture that we have in Arcadia Unified. And I really just, for inspiration, just wanted to just let everybody know about all the great work that was going on this summer, and to thank our community for their continued support, because our students at the end of the day benefit from all of the work that we do. And as we begin the new year, I hope that we will continue to work together, and I look forward to a great school year. So that's my inspiration for tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Yee. All right, we do need a motion to approve the agenda this evening.
I move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Eng.
I'll second it.
Thank you. The motion was made by Mr. Eng, seconded by Mrs. Vargo. Any question? Great. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. Motion carries. We do not have audience comments this evening, so that brings us to our action items. And our first item is the new classified management job description, Chief Technology and Innovation Officer. I believe that will be you, Dr. Hershey?
That's right. So with the retirement of Scott Bramley, who served as our Chief Technology Officer, Dr. Van Osdal had announced that we were actually going to be reducing a management position by one as part of our expenditure reduction program. As you know, we already operate very lean from a management perspective, and so this means that we'll be running even leaner from that perspective. But it also gave us the opportunity, with Greg then stepping into this role, for us to create a new position. And so this position is combining what used to be the Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer job description with the Chief Technology Officer job description. So with that, we bring forward tonight a new job description titled the Chief Technology and Innovation Officer.
Wonderful, thank you. We do need a motion for this item.
I will move to approve the new classified management job description of Chief Technology and Innovation Officer.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Mr. Chung. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Yee. All right, motion made by Mr. Chung, seconded by Mrs. Yee. Comments or questions? No? Twice as much work? All right, with no further comment, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Gazanian. All right, our second item is the English learner reclassification criteria. Dr. Forsey, do you want to introduce Dr. Mendoza?
Sure. Thank you for coming up and being here, Dr. Mendoza. The English learner reclassification criteria, I think, as we all read this weekend, can be intricate, and that's kind of just a piece of it. So we will be planning some study sessions in the fall to go deeper into this, but right now this is really just the first look at this criteria that we look at every year, and it's an extremely collaborative process, working with teachers, getting advice or thoughts from other districts on stuff. So we're proud of the work that we do within the district, but also reaching outside the district to get thoughts and learning from other districts and people that we know do a really good job as well to bring into our process. So.
All right. Okay. Good evening. Thank you, board members and executive team, for having me here today. And so really, my purpose in being here is to include the observation protocol tool for English learners, which I'll review in criteria 2 and go a little bit more in depth with. And then our other purpose is really to look at multiple pathways for students to reclassify. We've been looking at a lot of data, and based on the data that we've reviewed, we want to allow more opportunities for students to be able to reclassify. So the very first step to open that door to reclassification is criteria 1, which requires a student to get a level 4 on the LPAC. And the LPAC is considered that most rigorous step that needs to happen in order for a student to reclassify. And the state has really put an emphasis on this year. This year I've received multiple emails from CDE telling me that I had level 4 students who had not yet been reclassified in May, because they really do believe once a student gets a level 4, it's a very strong indicator that the student should be reclassified. And for criteria 2 through 4, those are locally determined, and those are some of the changes that we're going to be making. And I also have to say, in doing this process and reviewing these changes, we really worked with our EL teachers, our principals, our directors, in just making sure that everyone had a say in what these changes would be. And so I wanted to thank them for their work. And I even reached out to our former colleagues, Dr. Aceves and Dr. Prince, just to ask what they're doing in their districts as well. So the only change that we really made here was adding the alternate LPAC. We didn't have it listed, and the alternate LPAC is for our students with the most severe cognitive disabilities, and usually it's 1% or less of students who will take this exam, and then their highest level is a level 3. So criteria 2. So in this criteria, this is the teacher evaluation piece, and this is where we added the OPTEL. The OPTEL was approved in 2023, and the goal in approving this was really to create consistency among all schools across the district. Several districts use grades, and because we don't have set criteria for grading, it led to just a lot of differences when it came to this criteria. And so really that OPTEL is meant to establish consistency and equity for students in this area. And so, one thing that we noticed when we were reviewing this is students may not have grades, but it's not because they have English deficiencies. It may be because of other supports that might be needed. And so we added the or option as another pathway to be able to use, especially as we learn and establish our process with that Optel instrument.
Quick question, Dr.
Mhm.
Mendoza. The Optel instrument, that includes a lot of observations,
Yes.
like that we are listing in the top that we used to do. So it's not like we're getting rid of a lot of what we used to do. We're just sort of tweaking and using the tool that is the state is trying to have everyone use. Am I
Yes.
understanding that correctly?
Yes, because it still requires teacher evaluation, and so you do have an educator or teacher providing input and looking at that criteria. And so where the difference is they're looking at how you calibrate it and score it to say kids are being scored more based on this rubric, based on the definitions on that Optel instrument.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Mendoza, what are the core academic classes that
Yeah,
Or,
the core academic classes, what we refer to are English, history, science, and math. And the reason why we were very specific in naming core academic classes because those are the more rigorous classes. And again, when we were looking at data with grades, you know, we have students that might excel more in math and science than they do in history and English. So it really allows for students with just different learning preferences to have those pathways, right? Just like we have some of our English-only students that might not be doing as well in English, but they are excelling in math and science. And so again, it's allowing those different avenues.
Thank you. And even math and science have significant literacy skills
Yes.
that are required too.
Yeah, and that's why we felt like having those 4 classes, there's literacy in all those 4 classes. So if they're passing those classes, they should be given that opportunity to reclassify. Yeah. Okay, so criteria 3. So criteria 3 is really about the parent consultation, and the only change we made here is adding that Optel instrument, because in the Optel instrument there is a section just noting that we did consult with the families. So we just wanted to make sure it was in that criteria.
Andrea, what does Optel stand for again?
Optel stands for Observation Protocol Tool for English Learners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Acronym for everything.
Yes, there is an acronym for everything. Okay, so criteria 4. And so criteria 4 is all about looking at our assessment. So this is a locally determined assessment that we're using, has to be norm referenced, and be able to compare it to how our students, our EO students are doing. And so here, we didn't make any changes at the high school. With middle school, again, in reviewing the data, we had students that, interestingly enough, didn't have that 700 Lexile, but on Smarter Balance assessments, they were scoring a 3 or a 4. But we couldn't reclassify them because it wasn't in our criteria. So again, that's why we made that change. Because that's still data showing that they have the language. And so again, it's just another pathway. Where we made more changes was here in the elementary section. As you know, you just approved the Amplified Dibbles assessment, and so we'll be giving that to all students. And so we wanted to add that. The data that will be used will be non-screener data. And so we have that as an option, or we will continue to use Renaissance Star. And we did change that from the 40th percentile to the 35th percentile, because what we noticed when we were looking especially at our students that were transitioning to 5th to 6th grade, they had a Lexile of 700, but the percentile rank was like 35, 36, 37. And again, it was an observation that we made, and we don't want to tie our own hands in keeping the kids from being reclassified. And so we made that adjustment. And even in talking to the teachers and looking at the data, our kids that we reclassify they do very well after the fact. So we know it's not going to have any harm or not be appropriate to reclassify them at that 35 percentile rank.
So is that also why, like at the high school, you eliminated the score of 2? I mean,
I think at the high school, we eliminated that score of 2 because we felt like there really weren't that many students that fell in that window, and there was enough data with the data that we were getting for Renaissance that had that Lexile of 1,000 that was really allowing them to reclassify. But we wanted to keep that smarter balance assessment in there just to give them that pathway of 3 or 4. Yeah.
How often do the students take the STAR Renaissance assessment?
They take it 3 times a year at elementary and middle school. At high school, we do it for our EL students, and so we take it when they start to take it when we know that they're eligible for reclassification. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Are there any other questions?
When I first read it, I was like, okay, 40 to 35th
Yeah.
percentile. Passing with a grade of, back to a more generic, just overall GPA. And I don't know how to put this well. At first I was like, are we dumbing this down? But in hearing more about it and really looking at the why, and knowing our kids are performing here, but this other data point isn't correlating exactly, and yet clearly the English piece is there and we're holding a kid back.
Yeah.
This is allowing more ways to recognize that people have the English skills that they need to succeed, not about pushing forward kids who are not ready.
100%.
And so I really appreciated the presentation and the answering to everyone's questions, because I could see if someone just were to take a look at this off the street, you could interpret that away. Also not understanding how comprehensive the OPTEL is, because again, the acronym doesn't really do justice to everything that's entailed in that. So
Yeah.
I kind of went on the state website and was reading through some of their, so anyway, thank you for answering the questions and shedding some more light on the why.
Of course. And like I said, we've looked at so much data this past year, and it was hard when I was getting those emails from CDE saying like, you have those level 4 students, and I'm like, I know. And because you look at their scores.
It's almost like we were holding them
Yes,
back, right?
And so it's so difficult. And what I really appreciate, especially in talking to our teachers, they know our students' stories. And they are very confident. Like when we went to them, they were very confident in saying, we should be doing this, or no, we shouldn't be doing that. So I really feel like our teachers make really good decisions around our students, and our students who reclassify, the data shows that they are doing really well. And they get monitored for 4 years after they reclassify as well. So that makes a difference too. So we will continue to monitor and evaluate as well, because we really want to meet our students' needs. We don't want them to fit into our mold. Yeah.
I think this experience has been a reminder of how important multiple measures are, and that it's really easy to get caught up in, oh, just this or just that, and then you start getting reports back, and it's like, oh, if we had just added or in our in our content, that kid would be reclassified, and we know the doors that open for students when we do that. And so for me, it really is a reminder that when we're doing this, we really need to continue to look at those points, and what, if a kid is meeting 3 or 4 and then it's this more arbitrary one that's holding them back, we need to do something about that to open those doors. And again, the continued monitoring for 4 years out. So there is a safety net. It's not like they're reclassed and then it's okay, go off into the world and good luck. They're monitored, they're supported. And so this is one of the things I'm really proud of, the work that was done and the collaborative, and I would say the common sense, data-driven common sense decisions that we arrived at. So.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, we do need a motion for the English learner reclassification criteria.
I'll move to approve the English learner reclassification criteria.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you. Motion was made by Mrs. Yee, seconded by Mr. Eng. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thanks, Dr. Mendoza. All right, we are now to the appointment of Citizens Measure A Oversight Committee members. Mr. Essel.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is our annual process of renewing our oversight committee members. First is Measure A, the parcel tax. Just a reminder for both of our oversight committees, there's sort of three purposes for them. First one is to inform the public concerning our expenditures. Second one is to review the expenditures to ensure that they were spent appropriately as for the purposes set forth in what was approved at that time. And then lastly, to provide an annual report to the Board of Education on the expenditures of the parcel tax and the bonds. So for the parcel tax, we have one person stepping down. They've completed their 6 years, the 3 two-year terms, and that's Anthony Leung. He's been a great member of the committee, and we'll miss him. We have 2 members that have completed a term and are returning for the next round. That they are Scott Bay, who's a parent, and Tim Ree, who's an employee and a resident. And we, I was telling the executive team earlier, this is the first time in many years that we've got both of our oversight committees filled up. So I'm very excited. Joyce Platt will be joining the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee as our new Senior Citizens Organization member. And that is all the changes for Measure A for your approval.
Great. Do we have a motion to appoint the committee members for Measure A?
I'll move to appoint the Citizens Measure A Oversight Committee members.
Thank you. Mrs. Fargo, second?
I'll second.
All right, great. The motion was made by Mrs. Fargo, seconded by Mr. Chung. Any comment or question?
I have one other question. If there are people who are interested in joining, how would they go about filling like the Taxpayers Association slot or any other open slots that we have?
Generally, they can contact myself or Connie Chu at the business office.
Okay.
And we have a short application that they can complete. Parcel tax actually does not have a taxpayer organization role.
Okay.
That's just the facilities bond.
Okay.
And it's kind of a spoiler alert, but I'll tell you now.
Okay.
So we have a gentleman that'll be joining the facilities bond, and he has assured us that he is a member of a taxpayer organization. He's also, I think, a tax attorney, so that may also qualify him.
Okay. All right, we do have a motion on the floor for item C. Any other questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Well, thanks to everyone for their service on that.
Yeah.
And you are going to tell us about the other oversight committee.
I will. So, as a reminder, we have now a combined facilities citizens oversight committee, both for Measure I and the new Measure AS that was approved by you all back in January of this year. Again, the 3 purposes of this oversight committee are the same as I mentioned previously. We have one member who has completed all 3 terms or 6 years. You may recognize this person, Joyce Platt. She finished up the bond and has moved over to the parcel tax, and I really appreciate her agreeing to come back. We have 2 members that have completed a term and will be returning for their next term, and they are Paul Engel, who's a parent, and also Scott Harris, a business organization member. We have 2 new members joining. The first one, as I mentioned, the taxpayer organization, that is Kent Christoph. He's also a parent at Hugo Reed. And An at-large community member is also someone you may know, Lori Filippi, has agreed to come back, and I'm very excited to have her on the committee. So as I said, both committees are filled. There's 7 on the parcel tax, 10 here on the facility side. And I should mention that every year our committee members receive a nice thank you letter from our superintendent when they've completed their term. And that's it for the bond.
Congratulations on filling them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. We need a motion for the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee members.
I move to approve the appointment of Citizen Bond Oversight Committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Eng. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion was made by Mr. Eng, seconded by Mrs. Yee. Any other comment, question? Great, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, unanimously carries. And again, thank you to them for
Yeah,
their
thank you.
service. Yes, and thank you for thanking them. We don't have any items removed from our consent agenda, so that brings us to our information items. And that is the gift offers from 24, 25. And is that you again? Boy, it's your
It
show
is.
tonight.
I will do my best to be brief. This is the annual report that we bring in the summer, just recapping the donations that we received for the prior fiscal year. Sort of three slices of the data. The first one is organizations that donated greater than $10,000 last year. AEF, High School Booster Club, the Music Club, Highland Oaks PTSA, and Rotary. And then we go into a little bit more detail on the AEF donations. They totaled almost $30,000. They were for wellness center supplies, a sound system for Baldwin Stalker, and then some materials and supplies for some of our elementary and middle schools. And then the last report shows sort of a multi-year comparison. For 24-25, the total donations were about $410,000. Over the past 10 or 15 years, the average has been $736,000. So this trend, this post-COVID trend of lower donations continues. And so that's a struggle for all of us. But we do appreciate the donors that have made that effort and have supported the district.
Absolutely. Thank you. We do depend on our partners.
Yes, very helpful.
Yep. Okay, that brings us to the board liaison positions. So I'm going to open this up for some discussion among the board members. We have the High School Booster Club, the Music Club, the Arcadia Council PTA, the Education Foundation, AEF, the Performing Arts Foundation, the Collaboration Time Advisory Committee, CTAC, that's easier, the Learning Community and Attendance Plan, the LCAP, the Chamber of Commerce, and we've already, last meeting, assigned me to do the LA County, I can't think of the name. Thank you, LACSA, yes, again, the acronyms. Does anyone have a preference or something they really want to take, or, I'm going to volunteer to do the chamber, if that's okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because President generally takes that one? Okay, I'm going to pencil myself in there. After that?
I would like to stay with AEF for the second year, and then transition to performing arts. If someone would like to take music club, because I've done that for 2 years now.
Okay.
So
Which one?
music club,
When does the music club meet?
they meet a lot. And
And it
Every-
changed
That's not helping.
recently.
Every month.
No.
they're a great group though, and it's been really fun. Every month, exec board, and then they have a quarterly.
Like
Is there a
bigger
specific
general
day-
meeting.
Specific day of the week?
Do you know what it was last year, Rachel? No, yeah.
I'll
Oh, you You can
my
check,
let me
yeah,
look at
maybe
my
it's on your
calendar while you
calendar,
put something-
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you attend all the executive board meetings?
I tried to attend most of them. I didn't make it to all of them, and there were a few times where there was some conflict with our board meetings. So I've told them about that, and so they're going to try not to do that. Let's see. It's usually, so I guess if it was board meeting, then it would be Tuesdays. Let's see.
In the meanwhile, I can continue to do LCAP.
okay. Last year, Mrs. Vargo and I kind of split the CTAC. Does somebody, would you like to, I mean, that's very few meetings. Do you want to continue going to those?
I'm happy to do it, but if anybody else would like to do it, I want to give them the opportunity to, if they would like to.
Well, or we can do it like we do, or someone else can do it if you want to continue. Either way. Is there anyone interested?
When are those meetings?
Those are usually later in the afternoon. It's only 3 times a year.
Yes,
Yeah.
one,
Usually
actually,
on a
Yeah,
Monday.
They're already set.
yeah, they're already set for
Yeah.
next year. We have one in September, one in December, and one in April. They're usually on Mondays from 4 to 5-ish.
I mean,
Yeah.
And they're
I could-
here. Do you want to?
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I haven't done that
They're
before.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd be interested in that.
All right. So, Mrs. Yee, I've got you down for CTAC and AEF.
Oh, yes, and Performing Arts Center.
Oh, okay. You want to
I-
transition into that
yeah.
this year.
I
Alright.
actually started going
Yeah.
in place
Ah,
of Mr.
okay.
Ng because he wasn't able to,
Got
so
it.
I
Okay.
thought I'd continue since I've been going to the last
All right. Understood.
quarter. Yeah,
Did you find a day of the week for music club?
I'm looking. Sorry.
All right. Is anybody interested in doing council PTA, music club, booster club?
I can do Booster Club. I've done it quite a bit, but it fits into my schedule.
It
that I'm on.
also is generally well, it has been. This last year it was online pretty much exclusively, so I was able to go almost always.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even better.
Okay.
I can do music club and PTA. Did you want to do music club?
We're still trying to
yes.
figure out when it
I'm
is.
sorry.
Oh.
For some reason,
you
I'm
wanna continue
having a
with
hard time
PTA?
finding my
I'm happy to.
Okay.
calendars for
Yeah.
that.
And then maybe I'll tag along. once
Pencil
or
me in
twice
for
this
music
year.
club.
I would love to
Every-
come
and-
do it.
and
Put me in
you.
for music club,
And we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. John is there on Booster Club. Mr. Ang is on.
Yeah, I would say for the music club, I mean, I don't think you need to go to every single exec board. They invite you to it.
And you can always send a report.
Yeah, and I would, when I didn't go, I would just email them and say, is there anything you want me to talk about at the meeting?
Yeah.
Or, you know, and
Yes, yeah. I
yeah,
think the
so
big
I think the big ones are
most
the 4
important.
quarterly meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
which I'm looking, sorry, I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna repeat this really fast, you guys can chime in if I got it right. So we have Raymond Chung doing the athletic boosters, Mr. Ang doing the music club, Mrs. Vargo is going to continue with PTA, Mrs. Yee will be doing the educational foundation, as well as performing arts. You're never going home. Is that okay with you? I mean, I love it. I've had years
I
like
know.
that where I feel like I'm
Well,
always.
I feel like both AF and APAF wanted me, they asked me to stay on, so that's why I'm gonna do that for them. But I'm interested in the CTEC, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's,
And those are not
that
that-
one's
we'll
not a big
split.
commitment,
Yeah,
no.
so
And
I'm
they're
good.
great.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that wants to like, maybe, yeah, like be backup for Shirley if, well, you can call on any of us if you need
Yeah, if I
somebody to go.
can, I'll
All
call
right,
on you
okay.
guys, yeah.
All right, and then, for, the learning, the LCAP, Mr. Ng, you wanted to continue with that, right? And then I've got the Chamber of Commerce, I'd love to keep going to CTAC too, that's all right.
Did you have some?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I only have one assignment, I'm not complaining, I don't want more assignments.
Right, no.
I'm just saying,
Well, and
if-
PTA is
That's
like
a big
a
one.
large
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, so
Because
if-
it councils, all the council things as well as some of the smaller, but, do you wanna,
No, all I was gonna say is, if somebody can't make a meeting, I'm putting myself out there as
As a good sub.
a backup, if you would like to reach out to me.
okay, that's great.
It's helpful.
Yeah, same. Surely, especially the performing arts, if you don't mind, if you need a backup.
Okay, thank you so much.
All
Send
right,
them that
great,
meeting.
so why don't we just like put Mrs. Yi on performing arts with Mr. Chung as like backup number 2?
Great.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
last year, the general meetings were these Sunday,
Okay.
and then it's every,
And if it works out where you're stuck,
Mhm.
you can call on me or Mrs. Varga, we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Mrs. Aveda, did you get all that? Brilliant, because I probably won't be able to read my own handwriting after this. Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you. I think it's really special that our board does liaise with so many groups. It's a great year to the community and also a great place for people to ask questions and hear about our work. So thank you. I know it's extra time. And that brings us to department updates. Dr.
All right.
Van Osdal?
Thank you, Madam President. This time we'll present updates from each of our departments, kind of a 360 since our last board meeting. And we'll go ahead and start with business services. Mr. Essler.
Yes. I apologize in advance, it will be a little bit long. Three updates. The first one, the federal money coming to
Yes.
California school districts. I don't have a lot of information, but sort of obviously keeping our ears open. I think some money was released today. Seems like most of it is still being held back. We had, I think, sent a communication to you all that we estimate that money is about $500,000 for the district. And those are real expenses that we incur using those restricted funds. And so if we were to not receive those funds, obviously it would impact our deficit reduction plan. So just sort of pointing out the obvious, but I wanted to put that out there. Connects to the budget that has come out for next year. I'll mention that in a bit, but thinking about if we don't receive those funds either at all or in a timely fashion, how we're going to manage that. But it's not a deal-breaking amount of money, but it's certainly significant to our budget and our finances. So I just wanted to get that out there. The next update I have for you is our annual report of district indebtedness. This is actually something that's in our board policy, something we should have been providing on an annual basis and have not. So apologies for not doing that in the past. I think we've shared a copy of the report with you previously. I'll just go through some of the highlights as quickly as I can. And there's just some things that the board policy requires us to share with the board. And starting with the debt that we have issued. The 1993 bond, the 2006, and the 2024 are our primary sources of debt. And this board policy deals specifically with general obligation bonds. But really that's all the debt that we have as a district. The outstanding principal, the 1993 bond, is completely paid off. 2006 Measure I, it's about $246 million. And for Measure AS, it's the $70 million that we just issued a couple months ago. The actual and projected tax rates, not going to get into a whole discussion on that. The $60 per 100,000 of assessed value, that's the maximum that we're allowed. That is per issuance, or I'm sorry, per what's the word I'm looking for here? Election. Yeah, per indebtedness, the voter approved indebtedness. Sorry. So we're always close to the 60. We never go over. The models, the projections that we get from government financial services are always conservative, so they typically get a little better. But as those rates go down, that allows us to speed up the repayment of the debt. So we tend to stay just around that, $55 to $60 per 100,000 rate. Okay, bonding capacity, which is how much the district could fully take on in terms of general obligation bond debt. Right now, we're at about 524 million total. That's reduced by the debt that we currently have, which I've just discussed. That leaves us about $208 million of bonding capacity. That capacity goes up as time goes on because it's based on the assessed value of all the property in the city of Arcadia. We conservatively estimate that goes up 4% a year. That's the model that we use. Historically, it goes up on average over 6% a year. So again, we have some room for the numbers to get better over time. Our credit ratings. Hopefully this is a little bit familiar. We've been talking a lot about this in the past 6 months, but just a reminder, our Moody's rating is a AA1, which is their second highest rating, AAA being the highest. S&P, Standard & Poor's, were a AA, which is their third highest rating. AAA and then AA+. In terms of a general market update and refinancing opportunities, we look at what are the interest rates in the market versus where are our bonds rated at in terms of interest. We sold bonds recently. We refunded bonds like 2018, 2020. Interest rates were historically low. And the other thing to consider is that there are call dates when we can refinance our bonds. Our next call date is 2026, and after that it's 2034. So not much opportunity in the future. 2026, there's probably not a chance to refund and save money just because the rates we have right now are so low and the market is where it is. It may change in a year, but probably not enough to qualify as a real opportunity to save money. Any new developments in the finance market? Proposition 2 passed at the state level. That's great for us. We've talked a lot about that, but that's really only the significant news in the larger market. And then we continue with our post-issuance requirements. So when we sell bonds, there's a lot of stuff we have to do for the life of the bond. We do continuing disclosure statements every year that we post on a public website where investors can look. We have significant event disclosures. We haven't had any significant events, but we continue to monitor those. We have to do an arbitrage calculation. So because the bonds that we sell are tax-free, we're limited in the interest that we can earn. The expectation is that we sell the bonds and we spend it right away on construction. We all know DSA, sometimes things take longer. So we just have to be more aware of the interest rates that we're earning. For years and years, that was never a problem because we were earning very low amounts. But now with rates being up, it's something that we have to pay attention to. And then lastly, the Oversight Committee is one of these post-issuance requirements.
Question.
Yeah.
All right, we monitor that. What do you do if you're in a situation where you're earning too much interest and you can't because you're waiting on DSA approval or whatnot? What happens?
We are actually in that situation right now. Through Government Financial Services, we've contracted with a company that does these arbitrage calculations. And so right now, I think it's on August 1st, we have a payment due. We have 60 days to make that payment to the IRS.
So they just come in and take the gravy?
They don't. It's
if we're making a payment,
it's a self-reported repayment.
Okay.
It's about, I want to say, between $200,000 and $250,000, and which hurts my heart to say that we will be repaying this money. But think of it as we earned more interest than we're allowed
Than we're
to
allowed
earn.
to, right.
Yeah, we've maxed out on all the interest that we can earn. We do this calculation ourselves. We make the payment to the IRS ourselves. The penalty for not making the payment is you lose all of your bond funds. So it is a draconian penalty, and that's why you don't want to mess with it. So, yeah, we're in the midst of that.
And it does incentivize you to get your projects done.
And
So people aren't
that's,
sitting on a
yeah,
lump
that's the
sum.
safest and the best way to go.
Yeah.
Is they have, not deadlines, but like points in time where, you know, like after, what is it? There's a few of them. There's 3 years and 3 years and 18 months and maybe even 9 months where you're supposed to have spent or encumbered a certain percentage of your bond funds. If you hit those markers, then you don't have to do the arbitrage calculation at all. So going forward, hopefully, that's what we'll be able to do and avoid that completely. Okay, that's it for the annual report on indebtedness. Any questions about that?
What is the allowable interest?
It varies. It's based on what the bonds sold at. So, for example, the 2020 and the 2018. I'm not remembering all the details, but it's around for those bonds and the refunding. It's around like 2.35%. So obviously, with interest up at 4 and 5%, we've gone over that. And it's a whole calculation. And it's over a 5-year time period. So in prior years, interest rates were very low and then they went up, and they can balance themselves out. But since 2020, rates have been higher. Yeah. Okay. My last update is good news. It's about the state budget. You may recall that at the time of adoption, when David presented and you approved, we were missing a lot of information. So just this morning, David Vong attended the school services, they call it the finance conference, but really it's sort of the final report on the adopted state budget. So just a few points to share with you. And either we had conservative estimates of revenue or we had no revenue built into the budget. So these are what we'll be adding to the budget. There is a state required 45-day budget revision. We actually cannot revise our budget within 45 days because LACO has our budget locked for review. So we're meeting that obligation by sharing this information with you all tonight. You'll see these budget changes reflected by first interim. The TK add-on. We now know that the per ADA rate will be $5,545. Which is an increase of $2,397, so almost double from what we got last year. That's being per ADA, yeah, and that's being done so that we can cover the cost of lowering the class size from 12 to 1 to 10 to 1 or 20 to 2. For us, that's about a $650,000 increase in revenue, and again, that covers the added staffing cost. The next two are the new pots of one-time money. The first one is the Student Support and Professional Development Discretionary Block Grant. Statewide, it's $1.7 billion, $315 per ADA. For us, that's $2.7 million. This is one of the ones where we had no money budgeted, 2.7 in one-time funds. Just going back to the TK, we had some money budgeted, but the $650,000 is the increase. The next.
Does this help us in the short term deal with the loss of federal funds in terms of cash available to deal with things?
Yeah,
or are
that's
these completely compartmentalized?
Well, financially they are compartmentalized, but in the grand scheme of things, yes, that's what I have been thinking about this afternoon is with these one-time funds, is there an opportunity to offset that loss if necessary? I don't have any answers. I don't want to scare anybody over net services. But yeah, that's sort of where my thinking is as well. next pot of one-time money is the Learning Recovery Emergency Discretionary Block Grant. This is the final payment of post-COVID one-time money from the state. This goes back to 2021-22. Statewide, it's $379 million, so obviously much smaller than the other big pot of money. It's about $114 per ADA. For us, that's about $300,000 in one-time money. This is the money that will now require that we do an assessment of student need. The plan has to be written into the LCAP. I don't think we know at this point how that's going to work, but it'll be something that we have to do. So there's tighter requirements for this pot of money, for this $300,000. And we do have a couple years to spend that down. Lastly is the after-school program, ELOP, Expanded Learning Opportunity Program. This is the one where the state had expanded the tier 1 districts that had more low-income students and got a higher rate of ELOP money per student. And for us in the rate 2 pot, we thought we were going to be getting less. David Vong had conservatively budgeted a 10% reduction. What we found out today is that our rate 2 funding is going to stay flat to 24-25, so that'll increase our budget, our budget by $250,000 for next year. So that's good news. And that is it for my updates. Thank you. Any questions?
Just the way to end the report.
Good news.
Yes.
Good news. Any questions?
For the Learning Recovery Emergency Discretionary Block Grant, that will only apply to certain students, right? That's why it's like we get 114 per ADA, but only 300K increase.
Yeah, it's applied only to the unduplicated
Okay,
students.
got it.
Yeah, so which is about 35% of our population. Yeah. And so yes, that money is for those. Well, it's about learning recovery instruction, social emotional recovery from COVID.
Got it.
So I think there'll be more details coming out on how we should be spending that money, or maybe it's similar to how it was the first time around. But I know that we'll have some conversations here in the district on how best to spend that money.
Can you remind me, is ELOP considered one-time or ongoing?
ELOP is currently ongoing. Yeah, it's one of the governor's sort of signature programs, along with the TK expansion, and the free breakfast and lunch. So for us, that's a good thing to have all those funded and on an ongoing basis. Yeah.
And hopefully can count on them.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Sustain the programs.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we'll hear from Educational Services, Dr. Forson.
All right, well, that changed some of my updates. Thanks, Derek. Andrea, from Andrea, New Educator Academy begins July 29th to July 31st, and you have a flyer or I don't know, it's almost like a door hanger, huh? And then on the back of that is the schedule as well. So if you want to keep this in your car or somewhere handy, wherever's handy, Lee. But hopefully it's a one-stop shop for you for next week to know what's going on and where and what times. A highlight of that is always Dr. Van Osdal spending quite a bit of time with our brand new hires in a circle and really modeling what we're about here in Arcadia. So always grateful for that very intentional time that he spends with our brand new hires. And they are always very impressed every year. Like, I can't believe, a lot of them come from places like I didn't even know my superintendent, never met him. And I walked through the door and I just got to spend an hour and a half with the superintendent. I feel like I know him. So it's a very special time. I know David values it, but it's a very special time for our new educators. We have 22 new educators coming in. It's a diverse group of ATA and APSA. We have shifted from a 4-day new educator to a 3-day. We're able to manage costs a little bit better, and we think we can get what we need done in 3 days instead of 4. So that's one of the shifts that we've made. From Patty, working with elementary schools that gain new classrooms for the school year that we've talked about adding, bungalows and all those things. You've watched some of them actually physically going in. So working with school sites on ordering furniture, materials, and expanding curriculum for those new students coming in. Also working with our universal pre-K and early TK consultants and TK teacher who is Cassidy Alexanderson from Holly Avenue to remodel her classroom. So Cassidy has agreed to kind of be the canary in the coal mine, so to speak, or the guinea pig. And so we've worked with some consultants at LACO who've been very helpful, and going through what's age appropriate for that level of a lot of play-based, experience-based things. And in return, then we open up that classroom as a model classroom, not just for the district, but for them to bring other people to come and observe. So Cassidy was very open, excited about it. She's definitely the right person to do that. So excited that we're able to do that work and also maybe help some of our neighboring districts as they do this as well. From JT, our ELOP enrollment is now open for grades TK through age 6. Again, it ends at age 6 for ELOP at 9 of our sites. We served over 700 students last year in that program. So in anticipation of greater interest and limited resources, which now may be shifting a little bit, but still want to be very efficient, what we found is that some families really need the ELOP program. It's a lifeline for them. And then we found that some students come like very intermittently, once a week, but yet we have to staff and pay for them as though they're there all day. So we will be putting in some requirements for you must attend more than 1 day a week. They're not, I don't think they're extremely strict, but it is, if we're gonna pay and have it staffed, we need you at least to commit to coming a couple days a week to take advantage of that program. So you may hear about some of those changes or you may not, but a very, very successful program and very helpful for students. And we're able to do a lot of things through that program that we otherwise might not be able to do. So excited for that. Our absence recovery program launches this year at all 10 of our comprehensive sites. We'll be training attendance staff and site designees. Parents may opt out through the ANTP. They're automatically opted in through the ANTP, which has gone out, but they do have the option to opt out if they don't want to be a part of that. What that would look like is now your student will be marked absent. Now some of the measures that come in place if a student doesn't have good attendance now come online, and those are some of the time and experience shifts we're trying to mitigate by turning absences into still opportunities for learning rather than just absences and then all these necessary state-driven disciplinary measures really come into play with attendance. But that's part of the shift. That will take a while. It's a culture shift for not just here, but really for the entire state and anyone who's really trying to maximize this. So that may take a while, but we're excited about the opportunity. Jim has undergone extensive collaboration with TIS and Student Services for the student information update and the ANTP emails that have been sent to parents and guardians. So Jim goes through all of that. I'm on the parent side. I know Jen's on the parent side of that. There's a lot of information in there that we have to look at every year. Of course, there's updates every year, things to take out, things to reword, things to put in. So making sure that what's required to be in there goes in there, and things that maybe shouldn't be in there anymore get pulled out. But it takes quite a bit of time, and it's all electronic, so it does require a lot of collaboration with TIS in making sure that goes out the right way.
Right. So I've seen one of those comprehensively since I was a parent. That it probably showed up in a big manila envelope once upon a time for me. Can the board just get a copy of that just so I know what parents are seeing?
Absolutely. I think
I won't volunteer everybody.
I think
but
back when you were a
already
parent,
got
you
it.
probably had to bring a signed paper and
fully.
say you read it.
Yeah,
And now it's all online. You click a box.
Much nicer.
After you've read the whole thing, of
Yes.
course, you click a box, and it kind of attaches your signature, and then you're done. So
It's also worth noting, back in the day when we first launched that, you had to actually log into the system, see it. Anyone can see our annual notification now throughout the year. So it is on our website.
All right,
and
so
can
you
be
don't have to send it to me, I can go find it.
I can send you a
no,
link
we'll
too.
get it. We'll send it to you. We'll email you one.
Okay.
And then you can take it and make sure our system works. And then the usual looking at CalPads, updating, making sure that the data's accurate in CalPads when we send to the state. We know how important that is. And then lastly, we've completed our final priority window for interdistrict permits. I think there's there 3 or 4 windows, Kevin, do you remember? We go through 3 or 4 windows, priority windows for permits for enrollment.
We go through 3 windows.
3.
Yes.
So the last and final priority window has been done, and that's,
Yep.
Kevin works with Jim and Denise, and they kind of do that together to make sure openings are filled, and we're doing it in a manner where we're not overfilling a campus, but we are meeting the needs that we have for enrollment. And that is my update for tonight.
All right, any questions?
What does CalPad stand for?
Oh, what does CalPad stand for?
Or is that just
Brian?
Longitudinal performance, academic, like,
Service?
something with students at the end. It stands for like, it's
Oh.
looking, the concept is looking at student data over longitudinal spans, like their whole span kind of.
And it's where all like enrollment data goes, like everything goes there. And it used to be, you could, I'll say manipulate it, but you could, if there was a mistake, you could change it and go in. And they've really narrowed that, so it's really important to get that accurate, all of that
Yeah.
data entry, all that stuff accurate the
This-
first time.
Okay.
The system has changed a lot over the years, and I'll juxtapose it to some other states. Other states actually have a centralized student information system, and every school and district just uses the same system, so it's just with the state automatically. CalPad started years ago. It's had different names over the years, and the requirement is that we must submit this data to the state because we don't have a centralized system for the state of California, and the amount of data collected has just increased exponentially over the years. It takes a lot of time. And I'll chat a little bit about that during my update. Just wanted to speak to it there.
It touches every department.
And is that what feeds into that school dashboard?
Eventually, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's one, and beyond. That's like one little piece of what
Feeds into the school dashboard?
what goes into CalPads.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you don't have to submit separately for the school dashboard. They pull from the CalPads information.
They could pull from several different places for the information on the dashboard.
It's California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System.
You're close.
So that's very close.
All right, moving on to Human Resource Services, Dr. Harish.
All right. I have no updates for health services. So starting with special education, I just wanted to highlight a couple of new things that we're excited about for next year. One is in relation to our instructional assistants. So after hearing from all 3 of our associations in relation to the impact of day-to-day absences of our IAs to our campuses, we are piloting an IA roving system, subsystem for next year. You might recall that in the pandemic, we did something similar with teacher subs, where we have 7 rovers that are hired in the district, and it's been really successful for our school sites, and really from a teacher sub perspective was fairly cost neutral. So we're using that as our model for IAs. Obviously, this is a bit nuanced because we don't have pools of employees like we do for our teacher sub pools for instructional assistants. But just wanted to, but in order to kind of, to pay for this, as we're in our budget, our expenditure reduction plan, Special Ed was able to look at their staffing model for IAs, make some tweaks, be more efficient, and use their existing FTE to be able to designate these 7 positions as IA rovers. So just wanted to acknowledge the work of Dr. Mahoney, Program Specialist Tracy Sergi, and the SPED Supervisor Christy Reyes for all of their work to launch this. We're very excited about it, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot as we go and tweak as needed. So very excited for that. And also, I wasn't sure if you knew as well that we, as a result of increased enrollment, we are also opening a new STC class at Highland Oaks next year. So that'll be our 8th STC class at the elementary level. And so I just wanted to acknowledge the work of Principal Champion with her flexibility to be able to make this work on the campus. In relation to HR, we'll be launching our staff mandated trainings, our annual trainings, on August 4th. ATA has asked that we launch it prior to the start of school to allow teachers to, work on it before they come back if they want. They certainly have agency there. But I wanted to just acknowledge the work of TIS, risk management, and HR, because it's no small feat to launch this and make sure that we have the proper documentation for compliance for these mandated trainings. Moving on to enrollment, really great news. As of today, we have 8,997 students. On this day last year in enrollment, we had 8,957, so we're plus 40 from where we were last year. Great news. So I believe we're on target to meet our projection target of 9,023. So we're getting really close, and may even meet our or exceed our actuals, which was 9,072. So we're just 75 kids away. So very hopeful. From a staffing perspective, we've hired all teachers for the new year, and again, just want to acknowledge the work of Dr. Andrea Mendoza for all of her work for New Educator Academy. We're very excited to have these 22 folks join our team this year. In the classified realm, we continue to hire. We often get resignations over the summer, and this summer is no exception. So we are continuing to do all we can to get as many positions filled as quickly as we can for the start of school. And that concludes my report.
Questions? All right, thank you. Next, we have our Chief Technology and Innovation Officer, as of tonight, Craig Gazanian.
Fresh off the presses. That's.
I looked down to make sure I said it right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, could have gone either way. I don't know. A few updates tonight. One, I think all of you were on the tour of the portables when we were looking at construction, and if you saw me staring up at the ceiling, it wasn't because I was getting bored on that tour, because I noticed none of the cables were plugged into anything in the ceiling. So that's what TIS has been working on with construction. We want to make sure all the core infrastructure in those portables is connected when we have students back when we start using them. So that includes bells, clocks, wireless, network switches, and we need to make sure all that technology is working when we start using them. So we've been spending a lot of time on that. Huge thanks to facilities and maintenance and the whole crew over at the yard. There's a lot of things that need to go right for that to work, and they tend to in Arcadia because we work well together. So everything from that kind of support to fiscal, making sure the money's where it needs to be so we can buy the equipment. So really excited to be getting a lot of this running. That's in the short term. In the long term, we need to make sure all these new buildings that we're building have that infrastructure. There's a lot to organize, but our team's been doing an incredible job with it. As far as setting up for the school year, we were talking about data integration earlier, and essentially what that means is we have all this information in our student information system, PowerSchool, and we need to make sure that the online textbooks have student accounts when school starts. We need to make sure that students are able to log into PowerSchool. And the best way I can describe it is almost like a police officer who's directing traffic. And we have, dozens and dozens of systems where we need to make sure that data gets in the right place. So huge thanks to Brian and his team for making sure students are going to be able to log in and use those textbooks when school starts. We already talked about CalPads a little bit. It's an incredibly large data system with important stakes that dashboard looks right when it comes out. So Brian and I were talking about it, and it's over several million data points that we submit for our students every year. It's just an incredible amount of data, and it's a huge celebration in TIS. Really, I'd say for a lot of the district office when we get that data submitted and we can validate it. Again, we have an incredible team with Sarah and Angela and Brian to make sure that data is right. And certainly all the help from Ed Services as well. So appreciative for all those folks. And finally, I'll ask for your well wishes. As you know, Scott Bramley used to lead the bus tour for the new educators in Arcadia, and I was informed that I will be taking his place. So think happy thoughts, and we'll see how it goes.
Did we get that in the job description?
As I mentioned earlier, I think other duties as assigned was the reference point. But obviously, excited having grown up in this city.
Are you gonna bring Taco Lita into it? Like he
You know,
did?
we all put our little twist on it. So it could be Jim's. Technically Monrovia. It's right on the border. I don't know. We'll have to get a call on that one. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll certainly see how that goes. So that's it for my update.
All right. Thanks, Greg. And communications, Mr. Ryan Ferran.
All right, good evening, everyone. Similar to the ANTP update and refresh, we just did that with our enrollment web pages. There's a lot of information on there. It's kind of a complicated process, especially if you've never done it before, you're new to the community, new to the country. So Lauren did a great job of kind of leading that. We met with Jim today to kind of clean up some more stuff and make sure everything is still on there, and we'll still continue to kind of update that as people interact with it and do the enrollment. But it's up, it looks really good, and I appreciate all Lauren's work on that. Just try and make it easier for people as they go through that process, because there was a lot of information to it. So that is there, and that's about it for me.
All right. That concludes our reports. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ronaldo.
Can I ask a couple of quick questions that came up while you were talking that I forgot to ask? So the SDC class at Highland Oaks is, what grades is that? Is that all the grades?
So they had to kind of restructure, right? But this new class is a TKK.
TKK.
Mhm.
And do you know what do you remember how they're peppered throughout the district? So we have 8, you say 8?
Yes, we have 8. So we have one at Longley Way.
Uh-huh.
That's I have it right here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. Longley Way is a TKK. We have 3 at Holly Avenue, and now we'll have 4 at Highland Oaks.
Okay. Holly Ave and 4 at Highland Oaks. Okay, so they're not, it's only at 3 sites.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the SOPA classes though, as well. Those are just our
That-
district
That's
SDCs.
District
correct.
So there are
SDCs.
SOPA classes that,
Exactly right.
Okay.
And really from a big picture perspective, what we've been trying to achieve, because it used to be more dispersed, but we're trying to make sure that when a kid starts in TK, they can finish in FIT and not have to hop schools, which was kind of the old model, which we've been really strategically moving away from that.
Yeah,
So-
I remember that. Okay. So we have all the grades kind of covered at Holly Ave
And Highland Oaks, yep, you got it.
Okay. And then my other question, I just wanted to know about the priority windows. How does that work with the permitting? What are the priority windows? You said you finished the 3rd priority window.
Yes, so I don't have all the dates off the top of my head, but I would say probably the first one.
I just meant, what does it mean? You don't have to tell me specifically what.
Sure, what it means is, so these are for intra-district permits, right? So where people want to come from other districts into Arcadia. And so we have 3 rounds. The first round has a cutoff date, so if kind of the parents who submit that early, the earlier you submit, the better the chances are, right, to be able to snag space in Arcadia. And then what we do is we look at each of the grade levels where we are from an enrollment perspective to see how many slots we can take at each grade level. This year, we've been lucky enough to be able to basically accept the majority of permits based on those that qualify for Arcadia. And so we have these 3 windows, and over time what we've done is we've moved this 3rd window to July, because it used to be in August, but it really was too rushed from an enrollment perspective to get families up and running for first day of school. So now we're in this phase where we're done with the permits. We'll let school launch. Obviously, if people submit permitted work, we'll do that, when we can get to it. But this is really kind of the last round for us to ensure that kids can start day 1
The rounds.
of the new school year.
They're rounds.
They're rounds. That's exactly right.
And you may not open a 3rd round if we don't have.
We
the
always
capacity.
have the 3 rounds.
Oh, okay.
Whether we accept them or not is a different story. There
Okay.
have been years, a long time ago, where there have been times where we haven't accepted certain grade levels based on our, student enrollments and whatnot. But basically, from a big picture perspective, when we allow families to, to come in on permit, they can indicate their school of preference, but of course, we want to ensure that people that, you know, live in those neighborhoods have first opportunities to those slots, right? So we don't guarantee any specific school site. We put the permitted students where we have a space and where space is available.
Okay, so if somebody applies in, let's say, round 1, and there's not space at that point, do they automatically get carried over to round 2, or do they have to reapply in round 2?
I don't believe they have to reapply.
Oh, okay.
For that. They would carry over,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Actually, it made me think of a question too.
Sure,
Completely,
yeah.
when we were talking about the mandatory trainings. Can you just elaborate on which trainings that have to happen?
Yes, so there's 2 this year. In the odd years, we have our mandated reporter training. That's annual, so that's for every
Everybody,
employee
every
in the
year.
entire district, because we are all mandated reporters under the law. So that's every year. And then every other year, we have a harassment training that goes out to all employees as well. For management, it's a 2-hour training. For all other employees, it's a 1-hour training. And that's done every other year by law. We actually have an added training this year. It's AB5, but the state isn't ready on that yet, so we're going to have to figure out another mechanism to be able to launch that. But that's only for middle school and high school, and it's certificated. It's a very specific subgroup. So our launch will be what we normally do each fall. There is one that I'll actually put on your radar as well. There's a new board ethics training that went into law, and so that has to be completed this year. So I'll be doing an FBL this Friday on that, because we'll launch that soon. We have that all digitally in our target solution system. So,
Thank you.
good question.
Okay. We are to consent items, so really just A to E. If we could get a motion?
I'll move to approve consent items A through E.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second,
Thank you.
and before
Motion?
we vote, I would
Mhm.
like to abstain from consent item A, item 23. I'm a volunteer for that organization.
All right. So, considering that abstention, I will call for a vote. The motion was made by Mrs. Yee, seconded by Mr. Eng. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Great, motion carries. Our comments tonight, we'll start with Mrs. Yee, since you did our inspiration.
Okay, thank you. Not much to report, but I did want to just give a thank you again to all of the volunteers on our oversight committees, and just taking that time to be a part of that is really important. So we really do appreciate that. And congrats, Mr. Gazanian, for his new role. We're excited for you to do all that you can in that role. I know that you'll do great. So, and then thank you to Dr. Mendoza. I know that was a huge task, and you got a lot of questions from us, and we really appreciate all the answers that you gave us. So thank you. And my only update was I did attend the Arcadia Performing Arts Foundation meeting last night, and there's a few dates I wanted to just put out there. Tickets are now on sale for their Fall Gala concert, which is scheduled for Saturday, September 20th, with Grammy Award winner All for One. That their popular song was I Swear. And right now they're offering a 20% off tickets with a code early20s. So this is a great time to purchase your tickets. I think they've already sold like 100 plus tickets so far. So I think it's going to be a great event. And they also have a gala dinner that night as well. So go to their website and you can find out all the information. They also have announced their holiday show with the Lettermen, and I don't know who went, but I did. They were really, really great. So I highly recommend people getting tickets for the concert. It's going to be Sunday, December 14th at 2 p.m. So mark your calendars. Tickets will go on sale soon. And lastly, they're doing a special like AUSD promotion on commemorative plaques and I'm sure if you've been to the PAC, they have those plaques on the kind of at the entrance of the pack. So they're selling them, they're $900 for a small plaque, and it's a great gift idea for like a graduating senior to commemorate any type of important event. So again, go to the website for information. It's arcadiapaf.org. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Hank, would you like to?
Congratulations again, Greg Kazanian, new position. I think it was nice to see Measure AS starting in terms of breaking ground and looking forward to all the great things that we're going to accomplish. I also had the opportunity to go to our summer school showcases, which was great to see, especially the middle school at Dana and elementary level at Holly Avenue. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of great activities. You can tell that it's not just summer school, an extension of regular school. It was fun, and I think that's really the key. I mean, for children, I think summer should be fun, even if it is summer school. Thank you to AEF, great job that they've done, and also to our staff who decides to continue to teach during the summer. That's what I have.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Vargo?
Oh, yes. So I also got to attend the Dana Summer School showcase. I enjoyed that. I should speak up here. I spoke with a couple of parents while I was there, and they were talking about how much they appreciate having that option for their kids and how great it was for their kids. So that was good. I was unable to go to the elementary school one because I was out of town, but that was something I would have liked to have done. I also wanted to thank Tony for taking us on that tour of the different school sites and the construction that's happening. That was really great to see it in person, so please thank him for us. And then I'm trying to think of what else there might be that I need to talk about. Oh, I did want to say that I appreciated, as a parent with the ANTP this year, I did not receive something in the mail with I noticed that change. In the past, they used to mail us our username and password, and we would then log in with that. And I thought to myself, well, why are we doing that? And so that was a nice little change, is that we got it by email this year. So we're moving everything over, and I thought that was nice. And I think that's it for me.
So, Mr. John?
All right, thank you, Madam President. Been driving by the high school every now and then, and I know we had that little accident a while back, and it looks like nothing happened. So, yeah, thank you to Tony. I know Melinda was there that first day, taking care of the emergency repairs or whatever. So just looks great. Tell her thanks, as well as to Tony and everyone else. And thank you to Ryan and Lauren for the booth at the Patriotic Festival. I didn't get over there to help out or even say hi because there's always a crowd of people there. So it's great to see so many people interacting with the folks at the booth. So thank you very much for putting that together and staffing and making it so interactive, engaging. I also got a chance to attend the summer school showcases at Dan and Holly, and not much more to add except that, just great to see lots of smiles and laughter and just kids having a great time, and just having all those enrichment opportunities during the summer is great. And that's all I have. Looking forward to the new Educator Academy and hashtag Arcadia First Day coming up.
Coming up. Do you want to go, or do you want me to go, and then you finish us out?
I can go. Let you finish this up. I also want to thank Dr. Mendoza for leading our English learner reclassification criteria. It reminded me, as you were speaking, of our work back in the day with creating more math pathways. It was a lot of work, but the goal was making more pathways for kids to be successful. So thank you for that work and that continued work. Wanted to remember to invite the board to our back-to-school barbecue. Make sure it's on your calendar. Ready or not, here they come. So Monday, August 11th at 11:30 at Arcadia High School cafeteria. And we'd very much, if you can make it, to participate in kind of our welcoming line that we've been doing. I know our staff really appreciate it and appreciate having that meal that day in between all the work that they're doing to prepare. So share that with you. And I think that's all I have.
Great. I just wanted to, Mrs. Vargo mentioned it, but our last board meeting was an all-day planning session and tour of construction, and I wanted to acknowledge, I know that's a lot of time and work for our executive team and everybody that contributes to that, but it's really, really powerful and great for us to have that time to spend together and go really in-depth on some things, and I too very much liked being on those construction sites and seeing what was happening. So thank you. I left town that night, so I don't have a whole lot to say. I was sad to miss the AUF Summer School. I try to go to those every year. They're always a wonderful day. But we are hot on the heels of starting school here. It's coming up fast. So I did register to help at the high school's registration days today. I encourage anybody that can to help volunteer at those, because that is what enables us to have a smooth start to school. Lots of districts deal with all that once school gets going, and we really try to front load it so that first day kids are in classroom and learning, and it's so important. And our PTAs and PTSAs are such big drivers of making that happen. So just wanted to acknowledge that effort, because I'm sure they've been working for months, and we really appreciate it. Chamber of Commerce Taste of Arcadia, I think they've started selling tickets, so that's pretty much my big update from them. And just wanted to say congrats on the new title. Again, thank you for the reclassification, and also acknowledge the presence of both Dr. Dillman and Mrs. Matera. Thanks for being here tonight. And to Dr. Dillman, welcome in your new role. So, very good. And with that, we will adjourn at 8:27. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Very efficient. Thank you.